Welcome to the VRchat Classical Museum of Ancient Art. I am Professor Cluckington, and the curators of this museum have asked me to provide detailed explanations and examples of the fantastic works available in this beautiful museum. In this internet series, I shall talk about facts relating to all of the wonderful things inside this building, from the Roman age to the Egyptians to ancient Oriental history, with facts that will be accepted on Wikipedia when the admins aren't looking. So please join me as I go on a magical adventure around the museum. Come along, let's go for a stroll. And we begin our tour of the museum with this fantastic piece of art, circa around 50 BC. This is a typical example of Roman architecture. Now, as you may be aware, the internet did not exist around the time that the Romans were populated and, weren't just neo-Nazis saying they're Romans or the Italians trying to rebuild their empire. And as the internet didn't exist, pornography was a consistent problem. Now, we all know that the adult human being needs to do intercourse-based things many, many times with women, otherwise there are horrific problems in the world. And this wonderful sculpture was their solution. What they did after Pompeii is they discovered if they had ladies line up in a beautiful row and have a volcano erupt over them, their bodies would become fossilized much like this. And using those fossilized based structures, they were able to start carving out what we refer to in the trade as a Roman spank. Now, Roman spank banks are quite rare, even though they were obviously very common at the time, because lots of people like to do naughty things that I can't mention in this wonderful guided tour. But looking at the architecture, you can tell that whoever did this particular model really liked the concept of a threesome and no heads. And of course, who wouldn't like headless women in their threesome? I mean, unless you like certain things to be sucked on like a lollipop, you don't need heads, and all they do is moan and complain. I would know I'm a chicken, and I have a chicken head. The architecture is absolutely fantastic. Although no details are specifically available to be seen that would make this unworthy to show in a museum, it is nonetheless an incredibly important part of Roman culture and history that we must simply not forget about. Please, let's move on to the next object. And so, this fantastic statue is what we would refer to as an upper-class Roman member of the public. Now, members of the public did indeed exist at all times, and much like most modern civilizations, they were all very, very classist and very, very much arseholes. Now, of course, I know nothing about being an arsehole because I am a chicken. But arseholes have existed for a long time. Now, this particular member of Roman society was obviously very wealthy, mainly because he had legs and hands. Most Roman examples of art and recreations of Romans have basically never been found with arms and legs, unless they are the upper class. Julius Caesar, very famously, didn't have a left shoulder. Now, of course, these facts are normally hidden from view everywhere but Wikipedia, because modern-day historians just don't accept this as standard fact. Now, if we look, one of the things that we can point out, that although this gentleman is rather upper class, but not quite there, is right here. And right here, you can see that unfortunately the gentleman has a connection from his hand to his leg. These were very common when building Romans, because unfortunately, although the Romans were very crafted in their ability to make things out of stone using their mouths and chisels, occasionally it was just a little bit too much, and unfortunately they had to leave small things connected, otherwise the whole structure would simply collapse. This gentleman also appeared to have a rather useless function for a Roman member of society, which is correct genitalia. Now, as we know, Romans are entirely made of stone and crafted out of stone by very, very talented crafters. Henceforth, why having a full body is such a rare and important example. And this bloke is called Tim, and he always wants more coffee in the morning. He's very, very rude, and if it was up to me, I would have had him executed a long time ago. Isn't that right, Tim? No, you can't have more coffee, but we can move on to the other family that's over there. And now we move on to another example of a typical Roman. Now, as we talked about an upper-class member of society, it is of course prevalent that we talk about the lower-class members of society in Roman culture. This is a family of three: a beautiful wife called Uganda, a awesome husband called Uganda, and a rather hideous, bold monstrosity called Uganda. Now, these are fairly standard Roman names. It's well known that all Romans shared exactly the same name. Every Roman was called Uganda until they reigned into a position of power. For example, Julius Caesar was known as Uganda before he became Julius Caesar. This is a fact that is 100% true in every way, shape or possible. But we're not here to talk about that particular man because that's a story for another day. No, we are here to discuss this family, lovingly crafted from stone. Now, how do Romans reproduce is a very important question. As we saw on the other statue, they do have genitalia, but being made out of stone, they're about as useful as my head. Although my head, if you don't mind me saying, is absolutely fantastic in every way, shape or form. But Romans are crafted out of marble, lovingly. Isn't that right, Uganda? Yes, you're lovingly crafted today, and you've got your nose. Now, of course, as we mentioned, not all Romans had legs or arms, and this particular family didn't. Roman families who had legs and arms found reproducing an awful lot easier because they could physically hold the chisel whilst they hammered away their loved ones. However, in a lower class member of society's position, they, not having hands, had to hold the chisel in their chiseled beard, or mouth, or whatever orifice they had available at the time. It's been known that Romans occasionally used their ears when they were modelled because the mouth was just simply stuck together. Which is why most Roman children tend to look absolutely bloody awful in every way, shape or form. I mean, if we take a closer look at this lovely, bald-headed scamp, it's rather convincing that they are absolutely hideous and will not grow into anything because, of course, stone itself does not grow in the way that we accept as human beings and giant chickens. But yes, we have a lovely example of a Roman lower-class family right here in the museum. It's okay, Uganda. No, you're not going to the mall. Yes, I'll give you the waxing, darling. Just shh. Look, Uganda, you have to keep your wife quiet whilst I'm doing these shots. It's just so embarrassing to be talking to all these lovely people and doing a tour and your wife is talking about waxing her nose again. Stop it. And can you keep your child quiet? I'm trying to educate the good people of the internet. Families. Even Romans had family drama. What am I doing with my life? Oh, I say. And so we reach the end of our first episode of the guided tour of these wonderful historic artifacts, based heavily on the Roman culture. I do rather hope that you enjoyed the facts that I have given you, and that if you haven't learnt anything, at least you got to look at a penis without becoming gay. Because trust me, Karen, I'm a chicken, and it does not work that way. I have been Professor Cluckington, and I do hope that you will join me again in the future when things start working correctly. I love being a chicken. Now where is that hot chick on chick action?